It's called a two-dimensional list. Two-dimensional list. This this list called my list. It has three one-dimensional. It has three one-dimensional list. We call it 3 rows, 3 columns. It could be any number of rows, any number of columns. Okay, now I'm creating 3 by 3, 3 by 3. And same thing here. When we create a list, we always want to draw it. So I'm going to draw it. Draw it. Three by 3. So I got a 3 by 3 list. And the challenge here is how do we access to the individual element in the list? We use index. So what's the index that we use here? Index 0, 1, 2 for row, column 0, 1, 2. So each element here has 2 numbers as the index. Row and column. Row and column. Row 0, 1, 2 horizontally, column 0, 1, 2 vertical. So the address or the index for each element has 2 numbers here. For example, here, the first one is called a 0, 0. 0, 1, 0, 2. And this one is 1, 0. 1, 1, 1, 2. This one is what? 2, 0. 2, 1, and 2, 2. So we use 2 index as the address for each element. Now, before I do anything here, I just print out the list. So when I do a print, what do we got here? Let's see. The print the list. What do we got here? Oh, I got something wrong here. Look at this here. It says list include must be integers or slice, not tuples. So right here, you can see I'm trying to print out the list. And what happened here? It says, no, you cannot do that because when you print a list, you don't have anything to print. You don't specify the index number. You had to specify the index number. Now we don't have any index number to show. Now I just print it. I don't get anything. I can do that. I can attach the index based on my drawing here. Look at that. So I want to print out this number here. What I do is I say I attach index number here. See right here. What's the based on my picture, based on my drawing here? I do this. Say give me index number here. Any index, for example, 0, 1, 0, comma, 1, or 1. Okay, look at that. Look at this. I get an error message here, right? I get an error message here. So when I create a list, comma for each of those. So now you can see when I print it, I get this. I can also, this time I'm going to print out individual one. So right here. Pass any index. Pass any index. For example, I will say 1. I passed the index 1, 0. 1, 0 is right here. That's the 1, 0. So I get a 3 as the result. That's how you can access to the individual element using index. But since it's a 2-dimensional array, you must pass 2 index numbers. You must pass 2 index numbers. It's called a 2-dimensional array. Two-dimensional is a little complicated than one-dimensional because they have rows and columns. And you must use 2 index to access to the individual element. What if I want to go over all of them? I want to go over all numbers. 0, 0, 0. You need all of them. So 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, and 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, and so on and so on. You mean every element needs 2 index numbers to do it. If it's a one-dimensional array, I use 1 index. Two-dimensional array, you 2 index numbers. Because it has the structures. This time, I decided to increase the value by 2. We did it for 1-dimensional array. Now I want to do it for 2-dimensional array. Means I need to go through all the elements. How do we do it in 1-dimensional array? To go through every element in the list, how do we do it? It's for loop, right? It's for loop to do it. Same thing. With the for loop to do the same thing on 2-dimensional array. But this time, we need 2 for loops to do it. By row and by column. By row and by column. So right here, I decide to increase every element value by two. So here, this is the for loop. This is the for loop. So I say for. Before I do that, let me quickly test it here. Saying length. Print it. So you can see from the result here, I can see I get a 3. When I call length, I get a 3. The length, get 3. 3 columns, 3 rows. 3 columns, 3 rows. That's length. 3. Now, I'm going to go through the list. So by row, by column. So first of all, I go by row. Go by row. Here's what we do by row. And then I do go by column. allow me to do that. Kind of interesting. So here, I use two for loops by row and by column, by row and by column. Two for loops by row by column to increase the value by 2. Now you can see after the for loop, I get a value updated by 2. It's a 2-dimensional array. The 2-dimensional array, the number of rows and number of columns could be different. Now I create a 3 by 3. It doesn't have to be 3 by 3. It could be any number of rows, any number of columns. Does it work for you? 2-dimensional array. We also create a 3-dimensional array. I don't show you example about a 3-dimensional array because with 3-dimensional array, it'll be very confusing. You have to draw it first. One dimensional, 2-dimensional, you can draw it easily. 3-dimensional, you may not draw it correctly because it's 3-dimensional. You have to see through the cell. It's not easy. You have to draw correctly and then you can write code correctly. If you draw wrong, you cannot write code correctly. And it means you have to draw correctly. It takes some time and be patient to do it. We do need a 3-dimensional array. If, like say, for example, if you play video game, if you design a video game, normally it's 3-dimensional array because we need a space distance. That's 3-dimensional array. And that takes a lot of time to draw correctly, and then you can coordinate it correctly. That takes some time. So So I don't show example here because I don't draw well. And if you, but you can do, yes, you can do correctly. You just be patient, get a paper slowly to see the position, because a three-dimensional array needs 3 index. Need 3 index. And the key is when you use 2-dimensional array, make sure you can see this is the code we do with 2-dimensional array. And no matter which kind of this 2-dimensional array you work with, the code is always like this. The code is always like this. So just remember, here's the code for you to work on the 2-dimensional array. There's a for loop, in for loop. For loop, in for loop. That's the 2-dimensional array. And that's the same thing in all other languages. Any questions? So now we learned chapter 7, 1-dimensional, 2-dimensional list. And there's so many methods that we use to manage the list.